This is, we're calling our meeting to order, the general membership meeting for Peekskill NAACP on this Tuesday, April 24th, 2018. And so we will have our communications chairperson, Valerie Eaton, bring us in with our intentions.
Okay. So we just like to start our meetings with a short prayer. And so let's bow our heads. Lord, thank you for bringing us all together to join together and just think about making our community better through improving all or what may be an injustice or not, and just overall caring for one another. We ask you that this meeting be full of information that people go away with and give more food for thought. We ask, Lord, that this meeting also brings forth a guest speaker that will also allow us to all give more thought to just the overall uplifting to our community. We ask all this in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Okay, and now if we could all join together to say the mission of the NAACP. Mission of the National Association of Elderly People is to ensure political, educational, social, and economic equality of rights of all persons and to eliminate race-based discrimination. Okay, great. Thank you so much. As Valerie mentioned, we have a guest this evening, Mr. Caesar Raynor of the Economic Sustainability Committee from the Newburgh, Highland NAACP branch. We're just going to conduct very quickly some business first in the first 10 to 20 minutes. I don't think it's going to take 20 minutes. Thank you all this evening. I was the only chair person available to run the meeting due to some work commitments, so I'm passing on regrets from our president and vice presidents. And yeah, so first I just wanted to do some announcements. We have our bowling night fundraiser with the Peekskill Police Department. That is Friday, May 4th from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. and we have tickets available and no tickets will be sold at the door. So if you want to, I have a flyer here. The tickets are $30, which includes free food. There's a cash bar. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. It'll be my first, but the third annual apparently. So come on out, bring a friend. Let's have a great fundraiser. I do have a few flyers here, not the pretty color ones, but if you want to grab one of those, that'd be great. And I believe Martin has the tickets on hand, so reach out to Martin. I believe that's his phone number on the flyer, so you can get in touch with him if you want to purchase your tickets or purchase tickets for friends, family, etc. And moving right along, another announcement is our N.A.A.C.P celebration, which is on Saturday, May 12th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Field Library. The name of the celebration is officially N.A.A.C.P 100 Years of Art, Activism, and Education. And we have actually beautiful flyers that our library director, Jennifer, has supplied, so we can, please do take some. We'll make these available so you can share them around town. And we are doing this in collaboration with the Field Library and the City of Peekskill to celebrate, as the flyer says, this African-American pioneer who was also a past president of this Peekskill NAACP branch. And one of Martin's favorite facts that he loves to talk about, I believe, is that Mr. Chapley was the president at the time when there was a youth chapter here in Peekskill of like 800 students or something like that. So I think when Martin heard about that one, he's like, oh boy, we gotta drum up some more members. And so definitely very exciting to collaborate with the community on this event. I don't know, Jennifer, if you have anything you might like to add since you're here about what's to take place or what the exhibit is going to entail.
Well, what we're going to have is there will be a reception. Mel Tapley's granddaughter, no, daughter, one of his descendants is going to be at the event. We will be serving refreshments and food. We have reached out to Senator Murphy's office and to Sandy Galeff's office to see if they will issue proclamations. And we have reached out to the city of Peekskill to see if they will officially make May the 12th, Mel Tapley Day. And little known fact, as we were digging through the history, Mel Tapley, in addition to being president of the Peekskill NAACP, was also on the board of trustees of the field library. Yes. So he is both personally, because of the field library, someone that we are looking forward to honoring, and through his relationship with the Peekskill NAACP. So we're very excited about the event, and like I said, there will be food, so invite your friends. That's pretty much all I have.
No, that's great. Thanks for that update.
One question?
Yes.
How was it advertised? I'm sorry, I was just asking that same question, so.
We have these flyers out, and we have put them out on in the library. We put them out in the community. We have it on Facebook. We have it on our electronic newsletter. There's about 4,000 subscribers to our newsletter. And on Facebook, we put it on the library page. We've also shared it to, there's 4 Peekskill community groups. We've shared it to all 4. Peekskill Community Network, Concerned Citizens for a Better Peekskill, Peekskill People Unplugged, you know, pick one. We put it on all 4.
Okay.
If there's other groups that I'm not aware of, I know of 4, let me know, and we'll get it on those groups too. So it's been on social media and on hard copy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and we'll get at least one email blast reminder out to the membership as well on this. So, wonderful. Okay. So, we have another announcement on another event upcoming. This one is in collaboration, or at least hosted, I don't know exactly, at the Hudson Valley Gateway Chamber of Commerce, where we now are members. And this is called What to Consider Before Starting Your Own Business, with certified SCORE mentor Charles Auerbach. It's a business-related event, and that will be Saturday, May 19th, starting at 11 a.m. at the Hudson Valley Gateway Chamber of Commerce on 1 South Division Street. So there is limited space in this facility. If you would like or know someone else who would be interested in attending this learning session, please again reach out to Martin to RSVP. And I have a few flyers for that as well. Any questions on that? Actually, unfortunately, I wouldn't have the answer. So, again, email Martin. Okay, so we're going to recap our Paul Robeson celebration now. So that was on Paul Robeson's 120th birthday, which was on April 9th, Monday night at Peekskill High School. We had a wonderful concert event. It was pretty well attended by the community. Deputy County Executive Ken Jenkins was there with a proclamation, and it was a wonderful evening where actually the community had the first opportunity to meet the new school superintendent, who I believe is still sort of in transition. So it was a wonderful way to also welcome him into the community and show him a little bit about what the awesome capabilities of these students are at Peekskill High School. Also, it was wonderful that I believe it was Paul Robeson's grandnephew was in attendance, and he felt sincerely that we did pay a fitting tribute that to Mr. Robeson and his contributions, and shed a bit of light on his significance in the Peekskill area. All the while, just letting the students shine through music and art. There was a guest speaker, Dante Berry, from organization Million Hoodies for Justice, and he had wonderful words to share with us and the students about community organizing and his work and how it relates to Paul Robeson. And yeah, it was just a wonderful collaboration. We're grateful to work with the high school on that. And we were also very pleased to announce during the course of that event the winner of our Paul Robeson Scholarship, which is a $10,000 scholarship awarded over 4 years to a senior student who exhibited very specific criteria, not just a GPA of 80% or higher at the time of application, and various recommendations and so forth. Also, the student had to write an essay about the significance of civic engagement and and the work that they have done. And so we are very pleased to be giving this scholarship to senior Majacity Alexander. And she's very talented, very active student, and I believe she's going on to, I forget which college in Virginia this fall. So we are looking forward to giving her the award actually at the Peekskill High School Senior Awards at the Paramount, which I believe is June 20th upcoming. So we'll have an opportunity to give the actual award at that point, and also we had some excellent finalists as well, who we're happy to be giving them $1,000 each as finalists who really demonstrated excellence, and that's Kaylin Vasquez and Natonia Holloman. So yeah, it was, I don't know if anybody here was in attendance and might have anything to add about that I might have missed, but I think that's pretty much it.
Well, I just want to add, Natonia is also one of the artists on our CD,
Yes.
so that's excellent.
Yeah, so it was the Civic Engagement Committee was involved with, in the committee to evaluate and award the applicants, so it was just an honor to be part of that process, and so that is that. And yeah, so we'll, keeping with our Civic Engagement Committee activities here, I have a sign-in sheet for anyone who's interested in assisting us to get out the vote for the May 15th school board election. It's pretty simple. We have flyers drawn up and the approval from the school board to just go to whatever events are taking place in the school district and hand out flyers. So, for example, this weekend they are having the Beauty and the Beast musical performances Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if you are able to sign up, and we're doing sporting events, you name it, if you're able to sign up, what I would do is take your email address, phone number, and we'll get in contact with you to find out what your availability is, like maybe on a weekly basis, depending on your schedules. Some things are after school, obviously, so difficult for a work schedule to accommodate, but we're going to do our best to hit up a variety of events and get the flyer out. Just so you know, school board elections are very poorly, and this is not just in Peekskill, it's just countywide, it's countrywide, very poor participation in school board elections. For example, like 500 people will come and vote out of, it's maybe like 5% of eligible voters will go and participate. So we really want to get folks involved. So help us out. I'll have this sign-up sheet going around during the presentation or for afterwards. All right, so and then moving right along, we have our Juneteenth parade and waterfront celebration with the city is coming up sooner than we think. It feels like we just got out of winter and almost May, but in June, on June 16th, Saturday, we have the parade and then the waterfront celebration. So we're looking to pull together a small organizing committee to make a few decisions on that, pull it together, do some coordination. If you're interested in getting involved, it's a really fun day. So we have another sign in the back that'll go around as well. All right. And any questions, comments? We'll just have a moment here for.
Yeah, I wanted to share that on May, excuse my back. On May the 5th at the library, they have what they call the Help Send Off Team 26, which is Join the Gun Violence Prevention. Leaders are going to start, I guess they're going to be going from town to town, and it's on May 5th at the library, and it's from 12 p.m. to 1:15, and that's a Saturday afternoon. So if you can attend, that'd be good to support them as they kick that off.
I can add to that. The Team 26 is named after the 26 teachers and students that were killed at Sandy Hook, and they ride from there to Washington, D.C. and stop at cities in between. So they'll be served water and light refreshments on their way to D.C. So that's what that event is about. The library board currently has 3 slots available. If anyone is interested, we would really like to increase the diversity of the board and reach out to different groups and see if anyone is possibly interested in becoming a library board member. We meet once a month, always for about 2 hours. It's always the second Thursday of the month. And basically what the board's mission, first of all, as a collective, they're my boss. So their directors, they hire the director, they look at the strategic and future goals of the library, and they help plan the budget. So if you are interested, they also do the policy development of the library. So we definitely need, we have 3 open slots, so anyone. That's my announcement.
So I'd like to make an exclusive invitation to the people in this room. We've been talking about it for a while. The health committee of this branch was approached to endorse the New York State Health Act, and we struggled with that because we didn't feel like we knew enough about it. So we reached out to the organizing committee, and they agreed to come here for what we're calling a learning session. So we're not endorsing the program. We're here. It's intentionally going to be a small group. That's why I said we're not. We did extend advertisements to the health chairs across the state, and that invitation just went out yesterday, despite trying for a couple of weeks, but it did finally went. So we don't know if it's going to be 6 of us or 16 or 26 of us. But if you're interested, Monday at the conference room at HRH Care on Main Street at 6 p.m. I have a flyer, and I'd be happy to share it with you if you're interested. This Monday coming, the 30th. It'll be an initial short presentation and then lots of time to ask questions and understand this program.
Is that the Health Act pertaining to sick leave?
That is the Health Act pertaining to changing the way we get health insurance in the state of New York. Related, but not the same thing.
Oh, sure, of course.
Okay, Westchester Region NAACP AXO Coalition will be sponsoring the recognition and awards ceremony on Sunday, April 29th at 4 p.m. And it will be at Westchester Community College in the Gateway Center Auditorium. And they will be the AXO competition was held last Saturday at Woodlands High School in Hartsdale. And all of the youth who participated will be recognized at this program, and the winners who will go on to the national competition will be announced at that time as well. It's free, open to the public, so we hope we will have people from here. We had, I think, only 3 students, but that was better than last year, from the Peekskill area, but it's a countywide competition. So, ACSO is the Afro-Academic, Cultural, Technological, and Scientific Olympics. And it's a competition with 32 areas of competition in the sciences, performing arts, literary arts. It covers a lot. Visual arts. So we had dance, music instrumental, music vocal, sculpture, architecture, science projects, photography, painting, drawing. So there's something for every youth to participate in, but we don't get a lot from this area, so we're trying to pull Peekskill back into the competition. It's been going on for about 35 years now. So we have meetings monthly, and there's supposed to be a representative from every N.A.A.C.P grant and other community representatives. Unfortunately, the Peekskill representatives don't. You have your education co-chairs. Did come one time, but we haven't seen them since then. So we really do need participation from Peekskill and all communities. It's an excellent program for youth, and for 35 years we've been trying to get as many as possible. And we've had lots of winners come back with gold, silver, and bronze medals, as well as laptops, $3,000, $2,000, and $1,000 scholarships, and other awards. So it's a great program. So it's on Sunday, 4 o'clock at Westchester Community College. We should talk about getting that advertising on the sites in the future on the website.
So just one more quick announcement. Tomorrow night at the Field Library, the Field Library and New Era Creative Space discussion on a vision of race unity will take place. It is a discussion series ongoing throughout the year. There have been 3 sessions already. This will be the 4th of 12. It's always the last Wednesday of the month at the Field Library in the Field Gallery space, tucked away up above the stacks. It's a lovely space. It's been a really great discussion. A lot of Peekskill NAACP members have been participating, and I'll be there tomorrow night. It's at 6:30 at the Field Gallery. And I believe that concludes our business. I guess, Ramona, would you be so kind as to just have read us some quick words to conclude our business? Thank you so much.
Thank you again for bringing us together to put together ideas, to involve the community, Father God, to let us know what's going on in our community, Father God. So thank you, Lord, for our leaders. Thank you, Lord, for the community leaders, community leaders. It's volunteer that we do, but Father God, because we love being free and love this country, we do. So in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Great. Thank you so much, everybody. And without further ado, please let's welcome Mr. Caesar Raynor to the front of the room. He has a presentation for us. I'm very excited to hear. And so let's give him a welcome.
Thank you, and I'll begin by saying that I didn't come alone. I came with my associate partner, Pastor Booker T. Curtis, who is the legal redress person for our branch, and he and I do everything jointly, hand in hand, 50-50.
Take your take a moment to get settled? Is there anything?
Now, I'm sorry. We have two computers, so we have a video we want to show you. So I don't know, they're not synchronized, so if we could come together, I will only have to use one computer.
Okay.
Okay.
It looks kind of big, so.
It's 17 inches.
How long is the video?
It's 25 minutes.
Ah.
Too long?
No, I was just thinking if it was 3 minutes, we can crowd.
Yeah,
25 minutes is.
Look, I can put both of them together. I can put both computers out of here if that's necessary.
Just put the tables together back there, so there's one back there and one here,
Okay, however you want it.
if that will work.
While I'm doing that, you can go ahead.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, I need this one. Go ahead. No, there's nothing, excuse me, while
And I heard, when I entered the room, I heard two people in prayer emphasize the point that as NAACP folks, we are constantly looking to improve things. Okay, this is our job. This is what we would like to do. Pastor Curtis and I feel that we have, somewhat by chance, stumbled upon the most important thing, or certainly one of the most important things that we can do to improve things for all of our townships, but more importantly, improve things for many of our young people, particularly those who seem to go astray, those people who seem to fall between the cracks, don't complete high school, so forth and so on. And that's kind of our emphasis. And I think, without dragging the point out, I think we as an American society have swung from being kind of blue collar and white collar to only emphasizing those things that lead from a college education. Okay? So we don't encourage our sons to become plumbers. We don't encourage our sons to become electricians. We only want them to go towards the Ivy League side of the track. We're here this evening to say that's a big problem. Okay, that's a big problem. A couple years ago, I was heading home after work, and Pastor Curtis and I are old school carpenters. That's what he and I do. And I was heading home. I stopped at my favorite gasoline station for my favorite beer. And I tend to glance around at the newspaper stand to see if anything catches my eye. And I saw this article that said, the Mid-Hudson is experiencing a construction boom. And I said, I'm not booming. I said, let me check this out. So I took the newspaper home, and I checked it out, and I made copies for hopefully everyone here to see. And sure enough, if you pay attention and you drive around, there is a construction boom going on, okay? Universities are expanding. Vassar Brothers Hospital, where I live, is quadrupling. Airports that were local airports are now becoming international airports. All this expansion is going on. Those of us who live kind of on the Rockland County side see what's going on with the Tappan Zee Bridge, okay? Are the new structures up? They're in the process of taking down the old structure. And I said, what's going on here? And 700 men go to work there every day, okay? What we as NAACP branches have to understand is that we're talking 700 white men go to work every day, okay? If you look at a lot of these construction sites, you see no black and brown hands involved in any of this construction boom whatsoever, okay? I think this is the issue we have to focus on. We have to get a better understanding of what's going on, and hopefully, because many of us are not anti-union, I just think we're being bypassed. I'll give you an example of that. I think we have to come together to put pressure on these groups to say, hey, we can serve for you as a resource to help you find in our communities people who are more than capable of doing this work, okay? As I'm sure all of you all know, I have 5 kids. And when you have 5 kids, you go through an education in and of itself to keep these kids on the straight and narrow. And I can say to you that you can take most of these young people out there, show them how to do something. I don't care what it is, and my experience as a contractor for 20 years will tell you they can do it. They can pick it up. I don't care if you're talking cement work, if you're talking high-end technical work, you're talking roof repair, plumbing. If you give them an opportunity, a lot of them have problems learning from a textbook base, but they can learn from a visual base, okay? And once they've got it, they've got it, okay? So what I'm hoping that we're going to do this evening is discuss the problem a bit more. We're going to show you a video that I think you should take great pride in, because your county is already implementing a solution to the problem I'm standing here talking about. Now, I'm going to attempt to embarrass some of you a bit. I came here a few weeks ago and gave you all these flyers. I see a lot of you here. And your executive legislator, Latimer, came and spoke to our group, and he explained what his office in Westchester County is doing to implement a pre-apprenticeship program. So, historically in the past, we've gotten some people into the program, into the various union shop apprenticeship programs. The failure rate is through the roof, okay? You can't just drop these guys off and say, okay, your job is done, okay? In many cases, their educational backgrounds are lacking, their math skills are lacking, their understanding of what it requires to get to work every day responsibly is not there. It's our job to supplement that deficiency. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. And if we supplement that, okay, then we have less people getting themselves into crime. We have less families breaking apart. We have less of the social ills that we read about and hear about each and every day. A gentleman came to our branch last week and he gave us a statistical fact that really rocked our branch. He said only 65% of the students who start high school in Poughkeepsie complete 4 years of high school. Only 65%. So that's 35% who drop out, don't complete their high school education. One of the projects I didn't mention when I said all these construction projects are going on is Poughkeepsie is building a jail. Okay, now who are they going to fill that jail with? Okay, that 35% are the people who are at risk. Okay, so what Pastor Curtis and I are here today to propose is that we have to take our NAACP branches back to the old days when we were on the front line, okay, of civil rights. We were on the front line of standing up and addressing injustice wherever we saw it. And I'm saying to you all, we can solve this problem that I'm talking about. Okay, when people go to work every day and come home tired, they're not out in the street doing nonsense. They're taking care of their families. Their children look at them respectfully, and our communities uplift. Okay? Now, I have a list which I will leave you today of all of the union shops from White Plains up to Northern Dutchess. You have 2 right here in Peekskill. You have 2 union shops in Peekskill And I'm willing to bet that if and when you approach them, they're not where the federal guideline says they're supposed to be with inclusion of people from the community.
Right.
Okay? So, what are we going to do about it? We can talk about it. I can come back next month, we can talk about it again. No, we don't want to keep talking about it. Okay? We want to do something about it as quickly as possible. The bottom line is this. I'm from Highland Falls. These little hamlets, townships that many of us come from are now becoming mega cities. We have a choice. We either involve ourselves in the transitional process or we get left standing on the side. Okay? Now, I like to use this example. 1955, in most states of the South, we were sitting on the back of the bus, paying the same car fare, but sitting on the back of the bus. A woman coming home from Christmas shopping on December 1st said, "I'm not giving up my seat." A black woman. Don't mess with them black women. Black woman. Okay? Now, was she the first? No. She was not the first.
No.
Okay? People forget to tell the story that Jackie Robinson, coming home from World War II as a decorated tank commander, refused to move to the back of the bus in Texas. Okay? He was taken off to be court-martialed, and all of a sudden it was squashed because they were embarrassed. This is a decorated vet coming home. Okay? So they don't tell that in the film. But I tell that because the same thing happened to my father, coming home from World War II. Okay? So, I'm discussing the problem. I'm not going to talk too long because Pastor Curtis is going to show you what we think is a solution, and what he's going to show you, I think, is a good solution, but we can even make it better. Okay? Because what you're going to see is the result of 4 weeks. Okay? I'm proposing for our branch that we implement a pre-training program that's going to be almost 6 months of intensive learning. Okay? We want our students, once they graduate from our program, to be so well prepared that they go through like those Tuskegee pilots. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, that's what we want. No failure, just straight through the program. Okay? That's what we want. It's your show.
One question?
Yes, ma'am.
You said that there are unions, and let's say the 2 unions that are in Peekskill probably not adhering to the quotas that they're supposed to be.
Right.
Aside from us as an organization or just the people, who's holding them accountable for those quotas? Or who should be?
That's the problem.
That's
the
the
problem.
role. That's the role.
Okay.
That's
Can I just say this? I don't mean to step on your toes,
But you do it all the time.
but we have to strategize.
Right.
You just can't go in there and say there's a problem because you're not doing. Listen. If I'm doing wrong and you're not bothering me, I'm gonna keep doing wrong. So if people have been getting away doing this for 30 and 40 years, they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're doing exactly what you're allowing them to do. And as long as you keep doing this, they're gonna keep doing what they're doing. And this has nothing to do about being anti-union. That's the first thing we have to understand. We just want to be included.
Right.
You know, if the president says, we want to make America great again, and you're talking about giving tax cuts to the wealthy corporations, somebody's got to do that job when these corporations come back. Believe it or not, it may not happen tomorrow, it may not happen next month, but they're going to pass a bill for infrastructure rebuilding. It's going to happen. If they can pass a bill and put us $1 trillion in debt, so some people don't have to pay taxes, so that argument is out the window now.
Right.
That's no longer an argument. So if you want to put people back to work, if you put people back to work, that means they're going to pay taxes. So if we go $2 trillion in debt, eventually, if you put people back to work, it's going to take that debt away. What we're suggesting is that one branch of the NAACP can't do this. The problems in Peekskill, the problems in Newburgh, the problems in Middletown, the problems in Poughkeepsie, they're all the same. Because as he was saying, we're little hamlets, but we all got the same problem. What we're suggesting as a part of that strategy is that we come together. We come together. When we write letters to these unions, whatever we have to do, we want to see the president's name from Peekskill, Newburgh, Beacon, Poughkeepsie. If there's one in Middletown, we want to see those presidents' names on that letter. So that way we're not out there on that sinking ship by ourselves. And it's not going to happen overnight. Nothing changes overnight. If you want something, you really got to fight to get it. And this is for these young kids. I'm sure some of you got your grandkids living in your house, maybe your son, maybe your daughter, because they can't get a viable a job out there. Raising Burger King and McDonald's $15 an hour, that ain't happening. That's not reality, because there'll never be another dollar bill. So we have to realize that this America was made great because people went to work. And I believe when we talk about the NAACP, it has a history, a rich history of standing up for people. Whether you're black, white, brown, or yellow, it don't matter. There's poor white folk out there too that's starving also. There's brown people out there starving also. There's black people that are starving. And let's understand something. During World War II, when there was a shortage of men, there was a lady that they referred to them as a while as Rosie the Riveter. Because they went into those factories and they took up the slack where men couldn't. So there are also openings for women also in this construction field. You can't go gender bias now. So let's deal with reality now. And let's get to work. We got work to do. And the thing you have to remember is that New York City, this has become a housing area for New York City. That's the reality. People are coming out of New York City like it's an Oklahoma land rush. It's the truth. If there's another building falls down there, you watch. So when we build it, you want to see your own family, your own kids out there working. Because when people see something they built, it's great to say to my grandson, I helped build that building. I worked over there, son. And maybe that grandson or son maybe want to follow in your footsteps. Because these people are making $40 and $50 an hour. $40 and $50 an hour.
Eventually.
Okay?
After the apprenticeship programs.
I'm sorry, sir?
After the apprenticeship program.
Absolutely. But we got to get in the door first. Right. That's the first thing. Right. You got to get in the door.
Right.
Until we get in the door, it's just a dream. I always say to people, we got to get past the dream. Not the dreamer, but we got to get past the dream. Because if you stay on that dream too long, it turns into a nightmare. And I think we're almost on that right now, where it's becoming a nightmare. Yes, sir?
Is regional and national NAACP aware of the same problem and have they endorsed this initiative to work collaboratively to make this change?
I don't think this issue is really being raised to the level it needs to be raised. I really don't. I'm not throwing any dispersions on New York City, but I can remember back in the 60s, they went through the same thing. And they opened up all those trade unions down there. They had to fight also. Now there's the opportunity here because it's becoming a construction boom. And unless we make it known in the papers, in the media, that this has got to stop, it'll be business as usual. And there's going to be big pushback. Believe me, there is going to be. So this is no time to get scared. This is time, if you're scared, I always say get a dog. If that's what you need to protect yourself. Because, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. We got to remember, in that civil rights movement, it was only black people that died. There were whites also that died too. They came from Detroit, they came from New Jersey, came from Chicago, and they gave their lives also for that movement. So we need to put some of these old issues that we once had, put them to bed. Because there's enough work out there for everybody. And there's enough work for us to get started right now, starting today. I'm sorry, sir.
No, I'm just going to say when we go out to talk to groups, we make it clear, this is not a black versus a white thing. Those days are gone. This is those who have opposed to those who are still trying to get there. Let's be very clear. That's what it is.
All right, this is the short version. Mr. George Latimer, who you know, your county executive, he got together with, I think it's Bosco, something like that, construction company, and some of the unions, and they gave them a grant so that they could put young men through a free apprenticeship program.
The county?
The county.
Gave Bosco a grant?
No, Bosco gave the county a grant so that they could put young men through a free apprenticeship program.
Women too?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Young women too?
There were no women in that, but women, in that was the first class, so there were no women in there. And I don't know what transpired after these 10 gentlemen graduated. I don't know, you know, if it's still going on or whatever, but it's the template for us to do the same thing. And I think it's a great template, and I'll get you the link so you can look at it on your own time. But the thing is that it had nothing to do about whether you went to prison. It had nothing to do about whether you graduated from high school or not. They basically, now you gotta understand, anytime you get a grant and you start a program like that, the first one you want it to be successful. So they scrutinized them extremely close. They made sure that what they did, it was going to be successful. So 10 of those young, one young man, he wasn't there because he was working at the time. Now, it's an inference that he might have did 20 years in prison because he said he wasted 20 years of his life. But the good side is what? He's working now. He's got a job, and he doesn't have to do that again. We have to realize that we have a segment of our society. Nobody really grows up and says, I want to be a drug addict. Nobody grows up and says, I want to be a drug pusher. Most of the time, it's for economic reasons. Really, it is. If we can change the mindset and the mind frame of any man or woman to let them know they can be a viable asset to their community, this is one way of doing it. We're paying people to sit home. Think about it. I remember when public assistance, when it first started, it was supposed to be what? It was supposed to supplement a working person's income. That's really what it was for in the very beginning. Now we pay people to sit home. They're going to, eventually, they're going to have to start putting people back to work. And I think this is one of the best ways we can do it. But it's going to take a hard effort. Unions are very close. You know, they're not the type of thing that they put up a sign saying, we're hiring. What we have, 5 shops up there in Newburgh? 5. We have 5 trade unions. One just got a grant for $350,000 to build a training center. Iron workers. $350,000 grant. They're going to use that grant to build a training center, but who's going to get trained? We've seen them where they said that they're going to, well, that was the labor's union, where they put out come and, you know, sign up to be part of the labor union. And you might see 200 people out there, but all they're going to pick is 10. You see? Yes, sir.
They had that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
In New York City, the Carpenters Union.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Thousands.
And I was listening to the radio on the way to work, and I leave the house at 5:50 in the morning, and they said that they had, like, the 2 DJs that I was listening to said that in 35 years on the radio in New York City, they'd never seen so many people in line for like 200 cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
They said there were thousands, and they were like up the block and then around the block. And then, yeah, it was, ridiculous.
It's a fallacy that people don't want to go to work.
People want to work.
You know, that's a lie. And we got to show that it's a lie by opening up these trade unions. You know, we really do.
And where are the apprenticeships held? In those union halls?
That's correct.
Yeah. Well, that's the other part of the program, that we want to make sure that we monitor our people that we put in there so that they don't. See, one of the things that happens a lot of times, when people open up programs, or they're federally mandated to open up programs because they're using federal money or state money, yeah, we hired you, but we fired them just as fast.
Right.
So we want to make sure that they're not being taken advantage of or mistreated or what. A lot of young men and women haven't worked in maybe 10 years. So they don't know what it means to get up to go to work each and every day. They don't know how to address, problems dealing with their supervisor. That's part of the training. You just can't tell them to go to work because a lot of them don't have that experience. And a lot of them are young, and some of them are old, but some of them, a lot of them, they deal with problems a whole lot different because they only know one way, and it may come out of their mouth, it may come out of their hands, it may come out of a way that may be violent. So we have to make sure that they're well prepared. That's why I said, when you first start a program, you screen very hard because you want to make sure that that's successful. Success breeds success, but success can only be successful if the community's behind it.
Right. Let me tell them a story about what we did.
Go ahead, sir.
Last year. Last year, on Dr. King's birthday, 2017, we asked the churches to announce that we were going to do training to get into the apprenticeship program for Local 17, okay? We had about 20 plus guys, I think 2 girls, come out. 18 kind of hung in there. And we put them through interview skills, we put them through extensive training, we helped them do the paperwork and so forth and so on. They went over to Local 17 on one of the coldest days of the year and stood outside for at least 3 hours. And I mean the line, as you indicated, was down the street and around the corner. It was just unbelievable. My grandson was one of those guys. And he said he spoke to some guys in front of him who told him they were already in the program. They were just going through the motions, okay?
Family connections.
Okay, all of our 18 candidates, the 18 candidates that we prepared, not one got in. Not one got in, okay? So, obviously, it's going to continue to happen in that way until we do something to make it change. Okay, that's what we have to do, okay? And what we came here to show you today, as I said, was the result of 4 weeks of training, right? These guys went through 4 weeks of training, and we know you don't have to have a PhD, you don't have to be an educator to understand. It's not enough. Okay, the schools have failed these kids. The family structure is not what it was when we were coming through. There's no one home in the morning to make that oatmeal anymore. Okay, my mother made it for me. Okay, but there's no one there to do it now. Okay, so these kids are going through hard times. We've got to be that support system to get them through. To get them through. Otherwise, you're going to continue to see what you see now is you'll see projects going on in the community, but none of us are doing the work. Okay? I remember when I started coming up here to Peekskill 20 years ago, it looked very differently than it looks now. Okay? And who's doing the work and who's not doing the work? Okay? We have to address the problem. Okay? So, I think what we want to outline is, number one, we want you guys to talk about this among yourselves, and we want you to agree with us that we want to get at least 6 branches of the NAACP to sit down and address this problem as soon as we possibly can. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We want, I'm sorry. We want to network. You know, we have these little outposts of NAACP, but nobody knows what the other NAACP is doing. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. So we have to find an issue that we all can, gravitate toward.
Is Newburgh always your regional director?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Okay, because we have 7 branches in Westchester County.
Is that
So he's the regional director for Mid-Hudson, Westchester.
Yeah.
So you've spoken to him already, I take it?
Yeah,
And this is something that should come up at the regional meeting where you have Westchester and Mid-Hudson all gathered together.
right.
You know, you're talking about trying to get 6 branches. There should be 25 branches sitting at the table with you.
Very well said.
But you need the regional blessing.
It's very well said.
Yeah.
Very well said.
I think that before we bring anything to anything, we have to get our act together.
Okay.
You know, before we go down there and say, this is the issue that because see, the issues in New York City are not necessarily the issues up here.
No, I'm just talking
I know,
about up here.
I know, but see, New York City down there talks to the regional director up here.
Yeah,
Okay? And he takes his direction from New York City. So we have to make sure that we have our act together before we bring it to anybody. Because right now, we're talking to Peekskill, and you're talking to Newburgh. I think Poughkeepsie's over there?
Yeah.
Poughkeepsie's over there.
I can connect you with Westchester.
Okay.
All 7
Okay.
branches
Beacon,
give you the
St. Duchess.
information.
And we want to make sure that, we're not the leaders. You understand what I mean? This is a group issue. Because you may come up with an idea and say, well, why don't we try it this way? Why don't we try it that? But we can't spend all year trying, going over this nonsense,
Yeah. Well, let me say one thing, if I may. It's funny how things, in my opinion, fall into place. Now, I met this brother over here, who I didn't know before, okay? And he says to me, he said, we gotta come at this thing from different angles, okay? And I hadn't thought about that. The angle he said is, we gotta get as many of our people certified as possible. Is that correct?
As a construction inspector.
Okay, stand up and explain.
I've already, I've had, okay, forget what I have. I worked as a construction inspector for the last 30+ years, and basically what is required in order to be a construction inspector is that you take a class. I'm going to give you an example. ACI, American Concrete Institute, is a 3-day, 4-hour class. On the 4th day, you take a test. It's a written test and a practical test. They want to see that you know how to make concrete cylinders, to take the swamp test, to test how much air is in the concrete. Once you pass that test, you are certified. Once you're certified, you can walk on the job. Not walk on the job. I'm sorry. I'm going to change that. You send your resume to companies. In fact, you go on Monster, Indeed, Career Builders, keyword construction inspector, and a 50-mile radius, and it's going to pop up jobs in the area. You send your resume to the company, and you can get employed without having to go through a 20-day training, a 4-week training, at the going rate, not half price. And I've talked to people here in Peekskill. I talk to people. It's not union. The inspectors are not union. We're working for the state,
Great, got it.
the Thruway Authority, and/or private firms.
Yep.
But they want to make sure that the job or the building is built according to their specifications, and that's what we do.
OSHA also, isn't that an easy?
That's a 1-hour, 2-hour course. You can do it online. You cannot do ACI online.
And OSHA's another.
Before you ask another, would you please, if you so desire, put your email address? I'll send you that link so that you can watch that video, and that way,
You can just give it to the secretary and she'll.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Oh, then I have to give her mine then, that's what you.
Yeah, I was saying, I'll get it.
She'll make sure that she gets it out to the rest of the branch. But I just wanted to make one very important point.
Yes.
Because, and I understand what you're saying, that's one of the things that we have been trying to do, is make sure that all of our branches do get together and are on one accord to fight certain issues. We did make a plea to put resolutions on the slate to present to regional that will then go to national, okay? And it was approved, okay? We did not get other branches together first. We just went to Hazel Dukes and we went to the regional meeting and said, where we need, conduct, prosecutorial misconduct, we need that on the slate. That is a very important issue. We talked about health and education. There's certain things that we were very passionate about, we brought it to regional, and they did resolve that that is something that is going to be accepted as something that the collective NAACP will put on their agenda. So I don't want you guys to think that you gotta get everybody on board to say, listen, this is important, we need it. This is an important thing, and I can't see anybody saying, that's not important. It's important, okay? We all know it's important. So I urge you and I encourage you not to say, everybody gotta come together and say, oh, all of Westchester said this is important. So we did not do that, you know, as much as we would have liked to, okay? We all know that, you know, Wilbur has other things on his plate, whatever he has, okay? We know what's important, okay? And there's a lot of things important. That's not to say that everything is not important, but this is something major. We're talking about a very important time in our life, okay, with number 45, you know, at the head of the round, where he's not looking for us to have jobs. That's not on his agenda. We all know that, okay?
They won't attribute it to being what? African. And we have to understand that we have to stop feeding into what the media is teaching people a lot of time. And look at the world as what it really is. You know, not what they want. We've allowed the media to define who we are, instead of us defining who we are. We've allowed the media to pick our spokespeople, instead of the people picking who they want to speak for them. We've allowed money to pick our politicians, instead of us picking our politicians. So there's a lot of things that, this is the greatest country in the world, as long as you understand what this country was built by. As long as you ain't on the bottom. The American dream isn't dead. It's just that people have gotten stingy with it. And they've only made it very, exclusive for a certain group. And if you got money, you're gonna reap the American dream. But I remember the American dream was what? What was they say? 2 chickens and a...
I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
The American dream ain't
I want to
dead.
say this.
No, we got one my hand back. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
You made a comment about the Egyptians being African, and my wife and I had seen a comedian, and the comedian happens to be a Palestinian. And he's like, you guys are talking about Jesus as if he's white. He's like, he was born in Jerusalem, or Palestine, thousands of years ago, when they didn't have sunscreen. How white do you think he was? He's like, my skin up here is closer than anybody else in the audience. And everybody was lying, like, rolling on the floor laughing, because he's right.
Well, I want to close out with this, attempt to close out with this. Keep in mind that one of the most controversial statements that Michelle Obama made is that she said every night she slept in a house that was built by slaves. Okay? And she said she was very much aware of that. Okay? Most of us are not. Okay? So we have to bring that back into